Grace and peace. Welcome to the final video for our Lenten series. I hope that these introductions have helped open up the visual art and through them the psalm. Our last image is a photograph of the interior of Notre Dame de Paris after the 2019 fire tore through this medieval cathedral. The name translates to Our Lady of Paris, and the cathedral was dedicated, as many were, to the Virgin Mary. Construction began in 1163 and was completed over 100 years later in 1270. This cathedral, unsurprising given its age, has a long and storied history, playing a role in events such as the French Revolution, the crowning of Napoleon Bonaparte, and the invasion during the Second World War by Germany. During a planned and extended restoration project, which had begun in 2012, a fire broke out under the roof of the cathedral. Confusion and miscommunication delayed the arrival of firefighters by over half an hour, at which point the fire had spread widely through what was known as the forest, a series of oak beams holding up a section of the roof. The fire burned for hours, with over 500 firefighters involved in containing and extinguishing the blaze. This photo is taken looking down the nave where the community would sit together during Mass. It looks forward through the crossing or transept past the choir to the high altar, the place where the priest would perform the Mass. And we see centered in the composition the Pietà, or descent from the cross. This sculpture by Nicolas Cousteau from the early 18th century shows Mary, arms wide in grief, holding the body of her Savior and Son, Jesus. In 1994, the Golden Cross was added through a competition designed by Marc Courtier and shines as if the source of its own light from the center of this image. Just in front of the high altar is rubble, charred and scorched, the roof above which burned and fell crashing down onto the transept, narrowly missing the sculptures across the high altar, a tangled mess of stone, wood, and metal. Psalm 126 is a psalm of ascent, meaning a psalm that would have been sung by the faithful as they made their way up to Jerusalem, up the Temple Mount, to worship their God in their God's own home. The psalmist remembers how the Lord has restored his people in the past, bringing laughter and joy to those who mourned and wept. The psalmist goes on, asking for the same restoration, the same healing, the same outpouring of joy and gladness to overflow the hearts of faithful Israel. Beneath the empty cross lies the body of our Savior, whom we turn to for restoration. Can this one do it?